Good afternoon. We're here for the very special and joyous occasion of swearing into the bar our graduates who passed the California bar. This afternoon, we're going to swear in 157 UC Berkeley graduates who have just successfully completed and passed the California bar exam. Taking and passing the bar exam is always a great hurdle and challenge, but never more so than this year. Those who took the bar this year had to do so in the midst of pandemic. There was great uncertainty whether the bar would happen and uncertainty about when it would happen. Its format was uncertain. This is the first time ever there was an online bar exam. But you triumphed. 96% of the JD class of 2020 took the California bar, passed. I think I can say that's likely a record 96% passage rate. It's truly outstanding. On behalf of all of our faculty and staff, we congratulate you. On the success. 157 UC Berkeley graduates who just successfully completed passing the bar exam is always a big hurdle and challenge. Thank you. We congratulate you on this success and on this important milestone. Let me tell you what the program is going to be this afternoon. First, Justice John Streeter will swear you into the California bar. Then Judge Claudia Wilken will swear you into the bar of the United States District Court for the Northern District of California. Then Carla Alameda, who's the president of the Berkeley Law Alumni Association, will speak to you. And then I'll conclude the program. Before we begin, though, I just want to take a moment to thank those who did all of the work to plan this. I'm very grateful to Aaron Deneen and those in the Development Alumni Relations Office, to Jenny Boyden and the events staff. This is always an important undertaking, but it's very difficult this year in light of the unusual circumstances, and I'm grateful for all of the hard work that they did in order to get this together and make it happen. And I really want to thank Justice Streeter, Judge Wilken, Ms. Alameda, for taking time for their busy schedule to be part of this occasion. So with that, we can get started. And we begin with my introducing you, Justice John B. Streeter. He's an Associate Justice of the California Court of Appeal, 1st District, Division 4. He was appointed to the Court of Appeal in November 2014. Prior to that, he was a commercial litigator in San Francisco. He's a former president of the California Bar. In private practice, before going on the bench, he was a partner at Kecker and Van Ness for many years, and before that, at Orrick, Carrington, and Sutcliffe. He earned his bachelor's degree from Stanford University and a JD from Berkeley Law in 1981. He then clerked for Harry Edwards, a judge on the United States Court of Appeals for the DC Circuit. Justice Streeter, thank you again for doing this, and I turn this over to you. I think you're on mute.
Thank you, Dean Chemerinsky. It's always such a pleasure to join you here at the law school, particularly for this occasion, which is a joyous occasion for all of your graduates and their families. 38 years ago, I took the oath admitting me to the State Bar of California. For me, like you, it was the end of one journey culminating in graduation from this great and wonderful law school and the celebration with all my friends, fellow classmates, and family at commencement. But it also formally marked the beginning of another journey, entry into a profession which I have honored and revered to this day, and which I have always been proud to have been a member. I know, because I did it before you, that these past 3 years, you have been engaged in a remarkable process here at the law school, one designed to train you in the art of lawyering. It is an amazing and transformative process, one that I assure you has already changed who you are. Only with years of hindsight will you come to appreciate what it truly means in your life. But I won't sugarcoat it. You have entered a demanding, rigorous profession, one that expects much of you and that requires sacrifice. But the exciting thing about it is the capacity that you now have to impact the lives of others. Your responsibilities at the bar will be great. Much is packed into the oath you are about to take. You will owe duties to clients, to the courts and public institutions before which you appear, and to the public at large, but also to one another and to fellow members of the profession. Always remember that those who are true and faithful to their oath collectively will earn public esteem, and those who lose their way can do much to damage the reputation of the profession as a whole. Now, some of what you should consider as you enter this great profession is not just a matter of duty. It is aspirational. Each of us who has taken the oath carries out these aspirational goals in our own fashion. I encourage those of you who are willing, for example, to carve out some time each day from your busy law practices to represent those who are indigent and without counsel. And I ask all of you to reflect upon and take with utmost seriousness the last line of the California oath. Remember, the oath is not just a collection of words. And at the end of the oath, I quote, the words are, "As an officer of the court, I will always strive to conduct myself with utmost dignity, courtesy, and integrity." Turning to some more concrete things, I have a list of 10 practical pieces of advice that I've compiled over the years that I think each of you entering into the profession would do well to remember. Number one, give your word and then keep it. Number two, accept responsibility and then perform. Number three, pay attention to detail, but keep the whole picture in mind. Number four, remember that exploiting short-term advantages often brings bad consequences. 5, of course, be truthful, but always take the trouble to be accurate. Being candid requires both courage and tact. Number 6, understand that courtesy and graciousness are usually repaid in kind. Number 7, never, ever forget that your integrity is your greatest and most precious asset. Number 8, be an attentive listener. Number 9, avoid criticism that is either needless or non-constructive or both. Number 10, remember that whether you realize it or not, you are now a teacher, a mentor, and a role model, an ambassador at large for the bar and for the justice system as a whole. Conduct yourself accordingly. That is my charge to you before I ask you to stand and take the oath. At this point, let's do that. I would ask you to stand and repeat after me as I administer the licensing oath for the bar of the state of California. I state your name.
I, John Fenton,
Fong Fong Fan,
Swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the state of California,
and the Constitution of the state of California,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will
faithfully discharge
duties of an attorney and counselor at law
the duties of an attorney and counselor at law
to the best of my knowledge and ability.
To the best of my knowledge and ability.
An officer of the court,
As an
Officer of the court.
I will strive to conduct myself at all times
I will strive to conduct myself at all times
with dignity, courtesy, and integrity.
with dignity
Courtesy, and
integrity.
Congratulations, you are now ready to begin the serious work of lawyering.
Taking a picture? It's over. We're
I'm
now
gonna ask
going
everyone to mute themselves again, so we don't have interference. Justice Streeter, thank you so much for those inspiring and important words, and congratulations to each of you for being sworn into the California Bar. Now to swear you into the bar of the United States District Court for the Northern District, California, I want to introduce Judge Claudia Wilken. She's a senior judge on that court. She received her undergraduate degree at Stanford University and her law degree from University of California, Berkeley School of Law. She was a staff attorney in the Federal Public Defender's Office in the Northern District for several years, and then was in private practice in this area for several years. She taught as an adjunct professor at Berkeley from 1978 to 1984. She became a federal magistrate judge in 1983 and occupied that position for a decade. And then in 1993, President Bill Clinton nominated her for the Northern District. The Senate confirmed her. She's been a judge on that court ever since. Judge Wilken, thank you for doing this.
Well, thank you, Erwin. I want to thank you for your introduction. I want to add my words of welcome to all of you as new admittees to the bar. To those of you who've just graduated from law school and passed the bar exam, congratulations on your accomplishments. You've graduated from an excellent law school and you've passed a very difficult exam, difficult in the best of years, but you've had to learn and pass the bar in the face of the unprecedented challenge of the global pandemic. I want to also thank and congratulate the family members and the friends who've supported the new admittees emotionally and financially as they've worked towards this day. I believe the family and friends are able to watch on YouTube, and I want to reach out to them and thank them for what they've done. I know you're proud of your lawyers, and your support will remain important as these new lawyers embark on their careers. Practicing law in the Bay Area and serving as a judge, I can tell you that many of your classmates from Berkeley Law will be your colleagues and your opposing counsel, your friends, and your judges over the course of your career. The people you've met here and other Berkeley Law grads that you will meet in the future form a community that will remain valuable to you over the years. New lawyers face the financial weight of your law school debt and the challenges posed by trying to find the right job or any job. Lawyers, in doing so, must always try to balance the demands of their clients, their employers, their supervisors, and even the demands of judges. They must do this while maintaining their own physical and mental health and their connection to their family and friends. I urge you not to lose track of why you decided to become a lawyer. It can be tempting to sacrifice your true priorities in the short term while trying to achieve financial stability and to bill enough hours. The pressures of law practice can be daunting. The desire to win can be overwhelming. You may think after you've reached certain goals that you'll have more time and more resources to turn back to your original dreams. But the lawyer that you will be in the future is formed in part by the experiences that you accumulate along the way. It is important not to give up too much of yourself. Some of you may have the good fortune to start your legal careers in public service. As Erwin mentioned, after graduating from what was then called Bolt Hall in 1975, I was lucky enough to work for the federal defender before starting a criminal defense practice and then becoming a federal magistrate judge and district judge. It is a wonderful thing to be able to do legal work that you believe in while also developing your skills as a lawyer. If you aren't starting in a public service job, another way to further your goals and ideals while accumulating valuable legal experience is to do pro bono work. Many organizations need help from volunteer lawyers and law firms. In particular, at the United States District Court for the Northern District of California, which is my court, we try through our federal pro bono project in conjunction with the Bar Association of San Francisco's Justice and Diversity Program to bridge the gap between access to the courts and the many people who are unable to get a lawyer to represent them in civil cases. Lawyers can volunteer to represent indigent clients in civil cases throughout the course of the case. These are generally employment cases and civil rights cases. Sometimes lawyers can volunteer for limited representation, just defending a client's deposition or assisting the client at a settlement conference with a magistrate judge. Or actually the biggest segment of unrepresented clients in our court, and a huge segment of federal cases generally, are prisoners suing about their conditions of confinement and excessive force. Many of these cases are also referred to the federal pro bono project when a pro per plaintiff has defeated the defendant's summary judgment motion and is eligible to proceed to a jury trial. The Bar Association provides training and mentoring, malpractice insurance, and reimburses costs. The judges of our court, I know, truly appreciate the members of the bar who participate in our federal pro bono project. I know the Ninth Circuit also has a program for appointing volunteer lawyers, and the court guarantees that a case that's briefed by a volunteer lawyer will be granted oral argument, albeit nowadays that will be over Zoom. In being admitted to practice before the state and federal courts, you've been given a privilege and an opportunity. As lawyers, we are empowered to guarantee that the founding principles of our nation are protected. We're all relieved at the show of unity that we saw at the inauguration last week, especially after the ugly divisiveness that we saw a couple of weeks before that. But all of the problems that we face are still there, in systemic racism, in the pandemic, climate change, and all the rest. Your skills and your creativity as lawyers are vitally important. The need for lawyers to respond to injustice has always been overwhelming, and it is now even more so. I urge you not to yield the personal values and ethics that you believe in today as you take this oath, justifiably proud, ready to embark on a career in the noble profession of the law. So I will grant the sub silencio motion made by Ms. Alameda to admit you all as members of the California State Bar to also be members of the court of the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of California. We have a separate little oath. It's a lot shorter. You can stand or not stand. It can be a little awkward to stand on Zoom, but you do need to unmute yourself. And I don't know, when Lin-Manuel Miranda did it, everybody was in unison. So if this didn't work out quite as well as he did it, but try to all speak together. So you don't have to stand, but you do have to raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Annika Holland,
Solemnly swear or affirm
solemnly swear or affirm
as an attorney,
as an attorney,
as a counselor of this court,
as a counselor of this court,
I will conduct myself uprightly
I will conduct
myself uprightly
according to law,
and
according to law.
according to law,
and that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
and that
I will support the Constitution of the United States.
The United States.
Congratulations to all of you. I'll turn the matter back to Ms. Alameda or Dean Chemerinsky.
Thank you. If I could ask everyone again to put themselves on mute so we don't get feedback. Judge Wilkin, thank you so much, and thank you for those wonderful words. I now want to introduce Carly Alameda. She's the president of the Berkeley Law Alumni Association. She's a graduate of Berkeley Law class of 2006. She's a partner at Farella Brown and Mattis. Being the president of the Alumni Association is an enormous amount of time And it's in addition, of course, to all of her professional obligations and her work as a lawyer. I'm so grateful to her for all of her work on the Alumni Association for a number of years now, and for taking on the responsibilities of being the president of it. And Carla, with that, I'll turn it over to you to speak to those who've just been sworn into the bar.
Thank you, Dean Chemerinsky. Welcome, everyone, and congratulations. You know, I don't know about Lin-Manuel Miranda, but I actually think the way the compilation came through of everybody giving the oath was actually wonderfully moving. So I think that went off just fine. It's an honor to join you here today. It was 15 years ago when I was sitting where you are now, not in your living rooms, of course, but at the law school, where I wish we could be to share this experience today. But with resiliency and flexibility, we'll mark this important milestone in your transition from Berkeley Law student to practicing lawyer and Berkeley Law alumni together on Zoom. As Dean Chemerinsky said, I'm currently the president of the Berkeley Law Alumni Association Board, so I have the great privilege of formally welcoming you all into the Berkeley Law Alumni Association. It's always been true that upon graduation, our law school graduates part ways and start their journeys on their own paths across geographies and practice areas. When I graduated, I made my way across the bay for a clerkship and then to a firm. Some of my classmates did the same, but many others ventured out across the state, the country, and the world. And I know the same is true for your class, although your class was forced to scatter prematurely. And I know you all have had the extra challenge of taking the bar exam and starting your jobs in this remote virtual environment. But as you settle into those jobs and your own geographies and your lives, there will be so many opportunities for you to join bar groups, industry groups, and community groups. And I hope you all find things that match your passions and your goals. But I also hope, and I cannot suggest strongly enough, that you take the time and make the effort to stay connected with this community, your Berkeley Law community. Please keep the law school updated with your contact information, your employment status, your career news, so the school can keep you informed of alumni events and opportunities. And please attend those events when you can and stay engaged with your classmates. You will marvel, as I have, at all the amazing things your classmates do out in the world. And as you start your job or look for your next job or work with clients and work to change the world, you'll have the bond of Berkeley Law, not only with those that you were friends with or studied with here, but with all of your classmates and all the alumni across generations. And I hope that you find that bond as meaningful as I have. And I can say that my love of my career and of the school continues to grow with every year that I'm able to practice. And I hope the same is true for you. So I'm glad to have you all as fellow alumni. If there's ever anything you need, or if you have an idea for alumni engagement, please reach out to me or to the dean or to the development office. We will welcome your engagement, and our community will be stronger because of you. So with that, I think I will hand this back to Dean Chemerinsky for his concluding remarks.
Thank you so much. As I listened to John Streeter and Claudia Wilkin and Carla Almeida, I realized that for those of you who were sworn into the bar today, you couldn't possibly have better role models. When I look at all they've done in their career to use law to make our society a better place, these are exactly the lawyers that I hope you will try to emulate. I want to conclude by again congratulating you on this milestone. It's the culmination of your formal legal studies, and for most of you, the culmination of your formal education. Obviously, the learning process will continue throughout your careers as lawyers and throughout your lives. But in terms of going to school and getting a degree, for most of you, this is likely the beginning of a very different phase of your life, the beginning of your career as lawyers. Today, you received a license to practice law in the California courts in the United States District Court for the University of California. Guard that license very carefully. Treat it as something that's very precious. You worked so hard to get it. Never do anything that would put that license in jeopardy. Also, I hope that you will use that license to do good. You now have the power as lawyers to make people's lives better. You now have the power as lawyers to use law to make our society better. I hope you'll go forth and do that and make all of us so proud of your accomplishments. Again, my congratulations to each of you and to all of your families that helped get you to this point. I wish we could in person now raise a glass of champagne to toast you, provide you some good hors d'oeuvres. The best I can promise is a rain check on that. When we all be together, I'd love to bring you back to the law school and do a champagne reception for you. For now, I'll just leave it at, again, congratulations to each of you on this and all of your accomplishments.
Congrats, everyone.
You did it.
We did it.
Thank you. John and Claudia and Carla, you were wonderful. Thank you so much.